to check your brains. World War Z discussion.
Review.
Sure. It's me and Frank here. We both seen it. And now we're going to start off with Frank, though. Go.
Holy crap. Oh, this movie sucked balls. Dragon Ball Z's.
That movie sucked.
This movie.
Dragon Ball Z.
I don't know, where do we start on this one, man? And we start off with the opening scene. Just like James said, I brought it to his attention just a little while ago. Just as, I'm gonna get rid of this toothpick. Almost shot for shot, the remake of Dawn of the Dead. The morning scene where, the little girls in this case, jump in the bed in the morning with the parents. Kind of the same thing with the little zombie girl in that movie. And then of course with they did that scene and also in Resident Evil Retribution.
You guys remember that review?
We saw the prettiest, crafted, well-filmed, shiniest, smelliest
B movie
piece of
ever.
crap you'll see all year.
Resident Evil refund. No, this movie was. I just want to do an homage to the nostalgia critic Chester A. Bum and just go bananas on this thing.
Oh my god.
I just want to
It's
get
the greatest movie I've ever seen. There's this guy.
There was. I like the take. The whole take of the movie was it's just a different way to look at zombies. It was kind of this infection where they didn't really eat anything. There was no gore in this movie. There was more gore in Disney's original Bambi than there was in this movie. There just was. All the way through, there was these zombies just chased you relentlessly, and they're strong, they're fast, until rigor mortis sets in, and then they start getting slow and zombie-like. But they didn't explain that in the movie. You only found that out through people who read the book, or if you read or saw anything on the internet that, why are these zombies so fast? Google why is, and it tells you why, but it never explains it in the movie. For those people that didn't research it, they just go and they just see this. They're not zombies. They're just like infected people, like in the movie Crazies. So, with that being said, it was a different take, and it shouldn't have been called World War Z, Z meaning zombies, and World War referencing a world war, which we've had two of them, count two, of the most goriest, disgusting, most heartbreaking, just tragic wars. It should have been so much more than just a bunch of people running around. I bite you. Hey, let's go bite people. All right, they go and bite people. Hey, you're just like us now. Let's go bite. Yeah, no. Stop it. It's just no. And we've been talking about this. I just came out of the movie and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, and it is right over like that. I checked my brain. The theaters, the trailers amped it up so much, and there was a bunch of cool, the mountain of zombies climbing over the wall. Like, yes, there was no gore. There was very rarely any emotion. You didn't have any tie-in emotionally with any characters except for one. And there's Rayleigh Soldier, which was a girl with a shaved head, which I just dug the hell out of her.
She was my favorite.
But there was no other emotional tie-in, not with Brad Pitt and his family, and that wasn't due to bad acting or anything. It just, the story wasn't there. There was another little boy. We'll hit that in a minute, but we were talking about this, and I'm just telling him this movie just did not do it. Just did not do it, and he will not tell me till this moment right now what he thought about this movie. In all honesty, please hate this movie with me. Yeah. What did you think? Seriously.
I liked it.
No. Why? Why? Ah.
It is by no means a great movie. In fact, the only reason to pay to go see it at the theater is just for special effects wise, to see the scope of it all. It is a very big movie. The zombies crawling on top of each other up a wall. The whole everything about it. I mean, it's big. That's the only reason to pay to go see it at the theater. Other than that, yeah, it's a rental.
It was
But
even a bad rental though.
I liked it. I liked it, and I'm a fan of the book. The book is almost. We're still friends, right?
Yeah. Holy crap. No.
The book is like impossible to make a movie based on it. I mean, the book is based after the zombie war, and it's about a guy. It's just interviews, a compilation of interviews put together from around the world of accounts of what happened during the war with the zombies, and it's almost impossible to make a movie with that. I mean, there's little references to the book in the movie. Otherwise, it's all on its own. It doesn't have much to do with the book. I agree with almost everything you say. There's no gore in the movie, which a PG-13 zombie movie is crazy in my mind. I was pointing this out to you. You can tell that they cut it down some. There's one part where Brad Pitt in the movie, which is this one of the brilliant things I thought, figuring out how to survive using what you have. Well,
Yeah, that's true.
he takes these magazines and duct tapes them around his arm. You can't bite through them. So that's his armor. Well, there's one part in the movie where there's this black stuff on it, and I'm like, what is that black stuff? And then finally I realize, oh, is that supposed to be blood?
They can't even make blood red.
And he like touches a window and it smears on it. I'm like, they took the color out of it. They digitally made it black. I was like, okay. So,
Why
yeah.
cut out all the gore in a movie called World War Z? Why not have any gore whatsoever? There was the scene, the one of the opening scenes where it didn't take very long for this movie to really get going. There wasn't that much slowness in this movie. They woke up in the morning, complete rip off of Dawn of the Dead, which was ripped off by Resident Evil, and then they just, their kiddos are just like you see in the trailers. They're all hanging out in the car. The cop comes by. The cop gets smashed, and then all of a sudden you just see all these people running from people.
It was cliche. Yeah.
And it was very neat because these people were just, and I get it. The whole thing with it being, well, once you're bitten by a zombie, you're not really dead yet, so you have all your full strength and capacity to operate until the rigor mortis sets in, and then you start. I get that, but does that mean that everyone's that bit is all of a sudden Usain Bolt, or what's his name, the Olympic?
Well, whenever
that doesn't mean just because you're bit, you're one of the fastest runners ever. If you're a slow runner as a regular human, you get bit, you should be a slow runner as a zombie. Everyone in there was an Olympic sprinter, and they were running, and it was cool because they were like, just smashing their heads into cars, trying to get at the people, trying to bite. And most zombies that you see, they never really truly explain it, but the reason zombies missing their lips and lots of their faces because they're smashing their faces into just get at you. So that was kind of cool, but then it just shows this one family. This one guy gets bit on his shoulder or somewhere on his torso. The zombie looks at him, gets up, takes off running, and he's sitting there, and Brad Pitt looks at him and says 1,000, 2, 1,000. Gets all the way up to 12, 1,000, And the guy gets up and he's like, and then now he just goes chasing. There was no.
Yeah,
I get that take on it, but it's just stupid. This is called World War Z. They should have cut out some of the CGI stuff and just sprung for some fake blood.
Yeah, the whole scene with the Philadelphia carnage.
Yeah.
That's where it starts out, and when the movie starts out. I thought there could have been some more quick cuts of like carnage, blood going on, you know. And I got no problem with not having gore in your movie. I got no problem with that.
I do. It's a zombie movie. There should be gore. It's implied gore in this movie. And all this movie was a bunch of crazy people infected with the weird strain of influenza, apparently, because no one really ever found out. That never went anywhere. This movie explains nothing. And all it was just people running around biting people. And they just happened to be dead, I think. They never really said, well, you know, there was never any working on, oh, is this heart pumping? Oh, he's completely dead. Oh, they shoot him a couple times. Well, he's dead. But he still gets up and walks around.
They never really acknowledge whether they're the Walking Dead or not. They use the word zombie.
That they got in an email from Korea.
From Moscow.
Oh, Moscow.
That ended up in Korea. Passed through Israel. It's an investigation movie, really. It's about them. It's like a mystery. They're trying to find out how it started. They don't ever point out that it's dead walking. It's an infection. It's a pathogen. And these zombies, they don't eat the dead. They bite you to infect you, and then they move on.
But why do they do that?
So to me, that's not really a zombie, but the way I took it was, it's kind of like Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. It's this take on the zombie character. Not as great as the old ones. I am a purist. I prefer the Romero zombies. Slow moving, not very dangerous.
Easy to kill one-on-one. It gets hectic when there's a swarm. That's zombies. These were nothing but swarms of zombies.
These were the 28 days later.
Yeah. And that was cool, but they didn't do anything zombie-like. They just ran around biting people and running off. They just had rabies. Yeah, it should have been called World War Rabies. World War R.
Yeah.
This was not a zombie movie, and you can sit there and say, well, it's a different take on zombies. Well, don't call it World War Z. It's so stupid. Why? It's not fair. It's stupid. It's dumb.
I see this as, it's kind of like what I get from it. I don't know this for sure. It's almost like a pet project for Brad Pitt. He's a producer on it. He was a fan of the book, and I think he wanted it to be a movie. I mean, like I said, I don't know for sure, because I mean, they made the movie. It's supposed to be released back in December, and Brad Pitt saw a cut of it, and he was like, "No, you're not releasing that. That looks like crap.
Let's make it worse."
So,
and then release it.
They hired some new writers. One of the guys who was a writer for Lost, he wrote Prometheus, and they spent another $50 million shooting new stuff for it. And even Brad Pitt's son got to be in it as a zombie. I'm not sure which one was his kid. Couldn't figure it out. There's a lot of zombies.
But
what this movie did good was the small parts. It needed to be toned down.
Which small parts?
The scene in the Center for Disease Control where they are trying to sneak through the hallways and not be seen.
And Brad Pitt knocks down like 5 things and makes all kinds of noise. That was silly. But no, that was a good scene. Now that was
There's
not-
a scene
there
where they're
wasn't-
trying to get to one part of this. There's just one part of this hospital Center for Disease Control over in some other country.
Nova Scotia. Where were they
Yeah.
end up at? Switzerland.
And that place was filled with zombies, so they had to sneak through there basically, and it was really intense. I mean, the way they did it, and to me, it was one of the better film things because one thing this movie has got so much of that I hated was shaky cam. I am sick. Shaky cam. Buy a tripod.
We went and watched this movie in 3D. There was absolutely no reason whatsoever for this movie to be released in 3D.
I saw it in 2D, so.
Yeah, this was the absolute worst 3D movie I've ever seen. I can almost say that Titanic 3D was probably better than this movie. Then that's not saying the movie was bad. It's just it was a bad choice for 3D. There was no reason for it.
Well, it was a post conversion.
But
I mean,
you know, and you bring up a good point. That was a good scene or a good, you know, way they did it with the center, the CDC.
Yeah.
But what else? I mean, and not saying that the acting was bad.
Scenes
Brad
like that,
Pitt
I
was
mean,
on point. You know,
yeah,
even the
Brad
little
Pitt,
girls.
just like
the,
I said
the
to you
mom.
earlier, I mean, he's so charismatic that
There was not one cheesy actor moment where it's just like, this is bullcrap. This is just bad acting. The only bad acting was from the zombies, which the director was telling them to go and eat somebody, and they just got up and ran away and started biting people. Zombies don't take direction well, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the zombies, the way they look, they had some really good design going on there. There were some creepy zombies.
But that just kind of came from the movie The Crazies, where you need to see that. That's where just people were just they were just crazy. They had the veins in their face, and they were just pale and eyes red and bloodshot, and they weren't zombies. They were just crazy rabid people. And this is what these zombies were. They were just rabid people. Getting to the point, I want to talk about why in a movie that's of desperation and horror and just ruin and, you know, loved ones being lost. They even mentioned it a few times. It's like, you know, oh, I lost my family. Oh, that sucks, dude. This is a movie about no hope, and you're trying to find that hope, and in all this loss, there was no emotion in this movie, was there not?
There's Brad Pitt, as good as he is, I mean, it did look like he was kind of sleeping through it. But like I said, he's so charismatic. I mean,
I'm not talking about Brad Pitt. I'm talking about everybody else. When they talked about the kid.
Yeah, there's one part. I mean, there's this family you get to know that takes Brad Pitt and his family in to help him survive.
In an apartment building.
And they end up getting killed. And their little kid is the only survivor, and he's
probably
goes
about
with
a
Brad.
10-year-old.
Yeah, he goes with Brad Pitt and his family, and
He watches his
never-
dad turn into a zombie, run after him, try to kill him, and then he gets popped by one of these soldiers as they're getting onto the helicopter, and then his dad's falling with a bullet through his brain pan, and he's just like,
well, you don't know because you never see the gore.
that's life. Oh, yeah, that's true. But
Yeah,
anyways,
the kids
there
just
was
like
no like, no, Dad, Papa, no, because they were
Yeah.
Mexican. And dude, and not only that, but I mean, it's just there's no, other than seeing a bunch of zombies run around super fast and try to bite you, there's no emotional tie-in to any character except for one, an Israeli soldier,
yeah.
and she was awesome.
She was able to emote just by, she had maybe 10 lines of dialogue, and she's with you throughout half the movie. But just her expression, she was able to emote what was going on fairly well. I really liked her. She was my favorite character. I mean, just one part where you think that she's gonna die, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah, that's the only time you really felt for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, Brad Pitt's family, they're just hanging out.
With that being said, people, the man's wearing a zombie T-shirt, for God's sakes. with that being said, how in the hell do you still like this movie? There was no gore. There was bad direction. There was just no emotion. There was no emotional tie-in with any character. There were these reasons they were going to find explanation, but never comes to fruition. So you don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, even a movie as big budgeted as this, they could have been. They could have took it a different direction. Where most zombie movies are, well, hell spilled over and you're damned, or it's some kind of chemical, biological deal, and they never come to fruition.
Yeah,
with
they don't
anything.
ever tell you.
So how do you still like this movie?
I freaking love zombies. I love good, bad, cheesy. I like every
wasn't even
zombie
cheesy.
movie
This was just-
except for one. If you've seen my top 10 most disappointing movies, you know which one that is.
Number 6, Day of the Dead, 2008 remake. I freaking love zombies. Everything about them is awesome to me. And zombie movies are right at the top of what I like to call my kind of cinema. Good, bad, it doesn't matter. I'll watch either and enjoy myself.
Day of the Dead part.
The remake of Day of the Dead.
This was right up there with that movie.
No.
Yeah, it was.
Zombies weren't crawling on the ceiling, though they almost were. They were crawling up walls.
Dude, and not only were zombies like Olympic sprinters, but they were like high jump artists. They were, they were
Yeah.
all parkour, or free runner. This was a bad movie. No.
It's not a great movie.
No, absolutely.
But there's no reason for me to hate this movie. It was well made.
I watched it in 3D, folks. There was no point to watch it in 2D. I saw it with an extra dimension. It wasn't even worth the 2 dimensions.
The
The ending where they were fighting the zombies was damn interesting because it shows a night vision camera from like maybe a AC-130 or whatever those planes are, those big flying gunships, and there's like all these like little white, you can tell they're zombies just flying, just running into a stadium, and they just drop a bomb. Yeah, that was interesting. That would be fun to watch in a movie called World War Z instead of what they showed us.
you wanted
which was
to
nothing.
see.
You wanted
to see the war.
the title.
against the
Yes,
zombies.
the title's there. Why not just do it? Why not just
This
say,
was see what they did was the book, like says, about a
Invasion
guy
Z
who
or Origin Z.
it was about a guy who took he goes and interviews all these people. Basically, they took the interviewer, who's not really a character, but they took that and made that Brad Pitt's character in the movie. And so he is the investigator to go try to find out where this started. He's teamed up with this young scientist who doesn't make it 20 minutes into the movie, and he goes out in a lame way. And his character seems wasted, but he was there to plant the seed on how to figure this out to Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt figures out some clues along the way.
Even that was poorly done. Even that was just completely.
Well,
Ah.
it's got, like, he discovers that when you're infected with something else, that when you're dying, they don't want you because they're sending their pathogen along to kill you to become one of them. But if you're already dying, they don't want to infect you, so they don't bite you. And he notices, like,
Zombies don't care if you have a heartbeat.
I agree on
If you
that.
have a heartbeat and you're walking around and you smell somewhat fresh, they're gonna kill you.
But
The directors, the writers, the producers, everyone who had their hand in making this movie was watching Diary of a Wimpy Kid and saw the scene where there was like molded cheese and the kid was about to touch it and they said, "No, you'll get that cheese touch."
Stop! Good God, man! You almost got the cheese touch.
They saw that movie and decided, let's do that, with zombies, call Brad Pitt. This,
I don't have
if
my phone.
you have cooties, if you have gonorrhea persipulades, zombies will not touch you. So, strippers of America, you're good to go. This was not a zombie movie.
Well,
It was a take on a zombie.
it was
Yes.
an interesting idea. I mean, it wasn't very zombie-like. But, so Brad Pitt comes about with this idea, this theory that if you infect yourself with something deadly, they will ignore you. It'd be like camouflage.
But
And-
even so, how long do you have before that deadliness? I mean, because you're gonna infect yourself, and you're gonna die. You have either cancer, melanoma. You have what did they say? SARS or
Well, they infected him
H1N1.
with something that could be cured. Well,
What?
he infects himself. I mean, that's why he's at the GCD. I mean, or CDC, whatever.
But even with that, I mean, you're still gonna. Once you get that vaccination that can be cured,
Yeah.
don't the zombies want you again?
Well, it's to give the armed forces a chance to fight them.
That's so stupid.
If they're all infected with something, they can go out there and fight them and not.
Which
be
half the
worried
armed
about-
forces kind of already. Well, no, that was way back in the day with the VD and all that.
You're talking about
day.
the Navy.
There you go.
Those nasty ports. Yeah, I mean, but it. I don't know.
It
was
wasn't
kinda,
a zombie.
It was
Say
kinda,
it wasn't a zombie movie.
It wasn't much of a zombie movie.
Thank you.
No.
Now you said you love, and I can roll back the tape. He said he loves zombie movies. He just said
I
this
did.
wasn't a zombie movie.
So, it
So
wasn't
this
much,
was
but
logical. Your head should explode right now, and smoke, and your little chest piece should open, and your little wires and stuff should be smoking. You just paradoxed yourself. This was not this. He does not like this movie. He just won't say it.
I enjoyed myself watching it.
You enjoyed yourself. What theater did you go to? Eh?
Yeah.
This was a bad movie. I didn't even like
It's
it.
not a
little
great
bit.
movie.
I didn't even like it a little bit. Don't waste your time watching this movie.
Unless you want to see the cool special effects.
Yeah, duh, even that was, I mean... Israel was building this wall, and they got it done, and then they were protected from the zombies. You have gunships flying around, shooting zombies. You have this noisy metropolis of people just accepting in, refugees that were like in these tunnels that were gated over so the zombies couldn't really get to them. But a big enough swarm it was stupid. If there's a big enough swarm to like make a mountain of people that they're all crawling over to get, if they can make a human ladder, they can swarm a chain link tunnel and get into it. And they're very attracted to noise in this movie. So you have these helicopters flying around the wall, taking pop shots. That's loud. Not only the pop shots from the weapons and the guns and the firecrackers and the black cats that they're throwing down, but just the whirling of the engines. The decibels are way
but
up
that's
there.
these mobile things in the sky moving.
But
so
you have
they don't-
all these zombies coming around, and then you have this
There's
lady.
a scene where inside
They
the
get on a
wall,
loudspeaker and they're singing a gospel song or something or other, and it just like gets all the zombies, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, let's go there because there's more noise.
They have a pinpoint of where to go, not this mobile flying
But there was
contraption.
noise emulator. It's just dumb. Why could they hear that over a 300-foot
I guess
by 500-foot
we
thick
might have
wall?
to consider this another sucker punch for me. I
Sucker Punch was a bad movie, but it was good.
I enjoyed
Zombie.
Sucker Punch.
World War Zombies was not a good movie.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed.
I
I
don't
went.
know why, but that bugs
maybe
the ever living shit out of me.
maybe it's because I heard from you. You saw it first. You
Yeah.
saw it before I did, and he was talking so much crap about it, and so I went into it expecting the worst
I
thing
ruined
ever.
it.
And what I saw, I was like, well, this isn't the worst thing ever.
If you'd have went in there all super excited that this was going to be the world's zombie movie,
I wasn't expecting
end
much
all
from it, though.
movies.
That's the thing. I never have expected much. I've known about when I first heard about it, yes, I was excited about it. Seeing the behind the scenes, back when it was supposed to be released in December, and then you start hearing about all the trouble it's having. And I was like, oh man, this movie's going to be crap. And saw the trailers for it. I was like, that's neat looking. And I'm like, I know what the book is like. I'm like, there's no way that you can make a movie based on this book, really. I mean, and everything I've heard, and then hearing your opinion, and me and you, we have a very similar opinion on almost every movie. And, well, this is like the Resident Evil Retribution. You watch it, you know what you're getting into. Unless you're Frank sometimes.
yeah. Oh, it was.
It's... It's your choice.
I could have had a V8. Apparently.
You got mad at it.
I did.
And I was like,
movie, but
I
was
liked
still
it.
good.
I knew what I was getting into. This one, I knew this wasn't going to be the greatest movie. And I went in.
It should have been
Low expectations.
so much more.
For
a zombie movie, I've seen episodes of The Walking Dead that are just light years ahead of
yes,
this movie.
Yes, there are. Many of them, most of them, are light years ahead of this movie. There are many zombie movies light years ahead of this. I mean, there's so much better than this movie. But this movie isn't the piece of crap that you... To me, it's not the piece of crap. I went in, low expectations, walked out going, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And it had some shiny moments in it. The scene where they're sneaking through past the zombies, should have been a whole lot more of that in the hospital. There's a scene where they're trying to refuel their plane. And it's raining, it's nighttime, they're trying to be quiet. They got snipers on the roof to help protect them, and they're gliding down on the squeakiest, loudest bicycles ever ridden by mankind. But they're riding them to be quieter than walking.
Yeah.
And
Which
that
they
scene,
did have guys walking with them.
No, not where they were going.
Oh.
But that scene was well done. The scene I liked.
Now with the soldiers, did you get any kind of emotional attachment?
I was about to
any
talk
of the
about the soldiers and everything. I was like,
Did you
I thought it
just
was.
say,
I thought it was.
I was like.
I was about to talk about them. I actually dug the soldiers in Korea a little bit because they don't know what's going on. They've been cut off, and I like these little small moments in it. I like that stuff in movies like that.
But still, it was just such a quick little afterthought that you had no
It's not
emotional
memorable.
tie-in.
No, this movie's not memorable.
Because the guy at one point says, just give this to my mom, or how the
Yeah.
hell does this guy know that his mom? Everyone, it was so freaking stupid. Because Brad Pitt's like, oh yeah, I'll give it to your mom. I have no idea who the freaking mom. I don't even remember your last name. But yeah, I'll give this to your mom. And that was one of those moments where it should have been something more, a little more intense.
It could have been done better. That
it
could have
could have
been
been-
done a lot better. I mean, it could have been, Brad Pitt or that soldier. It could a little bit more
They
writing.
could have took 2 minutes
that could
to
have been-
establish.
I would have changed it up where where you know this inner monologue from that soldier. He's like, I know this isn't going to get back to my mom, but as long as I give it to him, I have hope. There could have been some type of
And there wasn't
tweaking
even that.
to do.
Yeah.
There's so much little tweaking they could have done in this movie to make it better. But, apparently this movie was a disaster halfway through it. And the end result isn't complete crap in my humble opinion. But in his. But I followed what was going on with this movie more. That's why I knew not to expect something great.
Yeah.
It's...
This movie was very phoned in. Let's just put a bunch of really fast CGI zombies and do a different take on. It's not even fair to call them zombies because they weren't zombies in the sense that they should have been zombies.
It was just their take on the zombie thing.
They had human rabies.
Superman isn't supposed to kill people.
Superman does kill people. Don't get me started on that.
I know. That's
Superman's not afraid to kill. He's not he doesn't puss out like Batman. He's like, I can't kill people, but actually I kill people every day by letting these criminals that kill people live. Superman's like, I don't want to do it, but snap, or he'll drop a building on you, and you're not gonna survive if I drop a building on you, but I gotta do what I gotta do.
I was joking. I know Superman kills people, lots of people.
With his laser eyeballs. This movie was bad. God, I wish you would hate it with me. No one's gonna hate it with me either. I hope you go watch this. I hope you right there. Whether you go out and see it in theaters, and I hope that you're busy working and you can't get a free moment, so that you save $20, $40 if you take a date. I hope you watch this movie and you say, yeah, this
80
is
if you have to go out of town like I did.
If you miss this movie and you wait, and you see this, and you wait for it to come out on DVD, and you will probably watch it. I hope you agree that this is a steaming pile.
Leave a comment.
It was still.
Tell us about it.
In all fairness, it was okay, but it did not live up to, or even at the end of the movie, earn the title World War Z. No.
It took place all over the world.
No. So does every other zombie movie.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Not at first.
Mm-hmm.
This one just...
No,
This was-
it started and it originated from somewhere, maybe Korea, but they were talking about people were sick with this and they got on planes and it spread around. So it didn't start where it started one place and it went to, just like every other zombie movie. What is it? World War Z. Ha.
If you like Outbreak, you might like this movie. If you like 28 Days Later, you might like this movie. If you like Contagion, you might like this movie.
I liked all those movies.
If you like to see what happens,
But those
when they
movies
have
aren't
a-
about zombies.
Well, they were about pathogens,
Did you ever see Blindness? Was it Blindness?
where people were going blind.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
So, I guess rent it.
No.
Put 'em in
Download
the
this.
middle.
I don't even condone downloading movies, but don't waste your time. Just download this movie. Torrent this movie all day, every day. Watch it and go to church and repent for your sins for doing that. But God don't care because this movie isn't worth a rent. It isn't worth $1 that you put in Redbox.
It should have been rated PG. That's my final thoughts on it. There's no reason it should have been PG-13. It should have been an R. Would have made it better. But with everything that's in it, it should have been PG. I got PG movies from the 80s that are 10 times worse than this. So.
He hated
Well,
this movie now. My job is done.
Thumbs up. Siskel and Ebert out. You have a good night.
This movie sucked balls.
Maybe look on the side and see.
Huh?
Maybe look on the side and see. You shut up.
I haven't been outside in like 5 months.